Hello, I am Rebecca and I'm recording this video for Pillars of the Moon, and this is a lifetime sky report using 13 star sign astrology to talk about the energies of the full moon, which is tomorrow. Today here it is Tuesday. So yeah, tomorrow, which is the 2nd of September in the GMT time zone, the full moon will be at 6:22 a.m. And so the 22 is an amazing number that's been rippling throughout the year, which I've been talking about. And yeah, so I'll talk a bit more about that later, but it's interesting how the 22 is back again. I'm just going to pop my glasses on so I can see a bit clearer. Yeah, so the 22, it's like an amazing number that's been rippling throughout 2020, connected to sacred union. And so the full moon being at 6:22, you know, it's a really beautiful reminder of that energy that's coming through this year. And so in 13 star sign astrology and the lifetime sky, the full moon will be in the sign of Aquarius. So that's really yummy. So I'm just going to bring up for you the chart wheel for the full moon. I'm going to share the screen with you all. And so the south node as well has moved into Ophuichus now as well, which is, it's incredible that it's happening on the same day as the full moon, the 2nd, tomorrow. So here we go. Hopefully you can all see that. So this is the chart for the full moon. 6:22 at the top, you can see the time there. This is for GMT, so it's London time. Yeah, so it's a very interesting chart. I'll just talk a little bit about it. So we look at our sun over here in Leo, still in Leo, at 22 degrees, so another 22, the ascendant being at 22 as well. So we've still got that fiery Leo energy at the moment. We don't move into Virgo until, let me just find, I think it's September the 15th. I've got it written down here. I'm still learning all of the dates. Yeah, 16th of September we move into Virgo season. So we've still got a little bit of the lion energy coming through, which we're going to be working through for the beginning of September. And we've also got in September, Jupiter comes out of his retrograde, Saturn comes out of its retrograde and starts moving forward again. So it's September is a very interesting month energetically, quite intense as well for many of us. So yeah, hold your horses. Yeah, so I'm going to talk a little bit now about the full moon. So obviously if you look at the chart here, the moon is on the other side and you can see we've got Aquarius here, and also Neptune is really close to the moon actually, and it's also at 22 degrees of Aquarius. So this is really interesting because, you know, we have so many of these 22s coming up, and so I wanted to talk a bit more about that again because I feel like it really is a big theme and it's here to teach us a lot. You know, the 22 frequency, it's about the twin aspect and the soul union, you know, the divine union, sacred union. It's like the masculine and the feminine coming together. And so like for me, I see like the masculine and feminine as there's two archetypes of each. So for example, we have Mother Mary, who's like the white energy, and then we have Mary Magdalene, and that's like the red energy. Or we could have Isis, which is like the white energy, queen of heaven, and then we have her sister Nephis, who's like the queen of the underworld. We have Eve and Lilith. So there's like the two different aspects of the feminine, like from the upper world or the immortal cosmic mother, and then you have the earthly mother, so energy down in the earthly realms or the underworld. And there's also the same for the masculine as well. So you have like the cosmic father, that to me is connected to Capricorn, or God. It's like Sky Father. We've all heard of these terms. And then the earthly masculine, that's like the horned god, or the devil, even, he's been named, and the earthly masculine, and so to me, it's the animal masculine and the animal feminine, and then the soul feminine and the soul masculine. And so if you think of it as like two Vesica Pisces, two going up and two going down, and then when they join together, that's when we have the 22. And so the 2 and the 2 making 4. So this is a big theme for this year. What is it here to teach us? And I think a lot of what's coming up, especially for me, from my personal experience, it's the challenges in the unions, and that has to begin with ourselves. Obviously, everything begins in ourselves, and we are here to teach each other and learn from each other and to be in union with each other and ourselves, and the different aspects, the masculine and feminine, above and below. And so this full moon especially is really bringing up a lot of these polarities and battles, even, it feels. In my partnership, we're definitely going through this. And it is a lot to do with communication, and communication of the feminine, and communication of, the south node is just being moved into Ophuichus, on the 2nd. And so Ophuichus is all that's been hidden from us. That's where the serpent is. That's Lilith. It's parts that, when the Inquisition come in and there was all the witch burnings, that's all the Ophuichus karma there, and that's, over the next period, while we're connecting to our south node collectively in Ophuichus, it's all about healing that trauma and the karma and moving on from that. The soul doesn't want to stay in the past. It wants to move towards the north node, which is Taurus. And so, but it's important that we visit the woundings and the places in ourselves that we need to resolve. That it's like that's how we find our way to the enlightenment and moving forward. It's by going into the underworld and meeting with Lilith and meeting with the dark feminine and what she has to say. So I feel like a lot of what's coming up at the moment, it's connected to the feminine and the masculine, and how we come together in union or not, and what needs to be said. And so when you look over here at the chart, you can see that Lilith, this is the black moon Lilith, is right next to Mars. So it's like they're having a meeting. Lilith, the dark feminine, is right next to the fiery god of war, Mars. And so this conversation that they're having, it could be quite heated. Or it could be like there's lots of fire coming up in our communications, lots of unresolved traumas and fears. And, with the south node down here moving into Ophuichus, it's like all of the stuff that's been hidden, all of the stuff, the witch burnings, everything that wants to come up, everything that wants to be healed is really seeking a voice now. Our inner selves, our inner child, the things that happened to us in childhood that want to be resolved, and the things in the collective, for all of us, the collective soul that wants to move on, but first we need to go into the collective darkness. We need to really feel all of that, really feel all of the feelings that are there, and grieve and roar and express all that's been hidden. And so we'll probably see this now in the media, about this uproar and this communicating and trying to like express, the words and the feelings and the emotions that have been hidden. And suddenly now, they've got a voice, they're coming to be seen. And so a really interesting aspect that I've noticed is when you look over here, we have Venus. This is our lovely Venus. She's in Gemini. So Venus is about the feminine. We all know she's about love and values, and yeah, the feminine feeling nature. And so her being in Gemini, it's like she wants to communicate, she wants to share, she needs to. She's like, yes, my voice. And what is she sharing, you know? And so with the South Node moving into Ophuichus, it's like she's sharing these things of the past. So you might witness this in people, you know, like going back home, returning to the childhood house. That's what I've just done this last weekend, revisiting the parts of ourselves that were left behind and healing them by loving them and listening to them, listening to that child that is still within, that hasn't had their voice shared. And so when you look here, Venus being up here in Gemini, she's in opposition to Pluto and Saturn, who are in Sagittarius in the galactic center. So all of these wonderful party over here in the galactic center, you know, it's like they're going through a reform. And being in the galactic center, it's like in Sagittarius, it's like they're back at the womb. They're back in a time of rejuvenation and rebirth. And so Saturn being about patriarchy, the father, the masculine energy, to me, connected to Capricorn, who to me is like the sky father. And so he is in opposition to Venus in Gemini. So it's like there's this standoff between the feminine who wants to have her voice and the patriarchy and the systems that want to control and conform and get everything into a little box, you know. And so what we might experience over this full moon time, it's like this uproaring of the feelings of the feminine voice of like, rah, this is how I want to express and this is what needs to be said. And then in opposition to that, it's like the authority. It's like, no, you can't do that. You can't say this, la 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 la, you know, and trying to control. Whereas the feminine is free flowing, you know, you can't control the feminine. And so it is at the moment, it feels like to me like this, yeah, like a standoff or a kind of like butting of heads and like, and how do we move through that? You know, and so this has been a really interesting theme in my relationship over the last weekend. You know, how do we move on when we're at war? You know, and it's like what I found for myself and my personal experience was I had to remove myself for a time, come back into my center, and to really look at what was coming up for me in myself, going back to my childhood home, visiting my family, going to my old bedroom, collecting my teddy bear, and letting the memories come. You know, what is really coming up for me now in my center? You know, how do I really feel for me? You know, and really, because what I'm realizing is I can't change anyone else. I can't change my partner. I can't change, you know, anybody else in the world. All I can do is change myself and love myself and all that I am and all that's coming up, you know, and all the shadows and everything. And so, and then it's like when we're at war and we're having these arguments or these heated discussions or things are being like chucked up in the air and dug up from the past, like, wow, what is this actually bringing up in me? You know, bringing it back to ourselves. You know, stop throwing the arrows at everyone else. That's what I'm reminded to do. You know, stop throwing the arrows outwardly and really just bring it all back into myself and say, wow, okay, let's really go there. You know, and really look at this stuff and really heal this stuff. And so coming back to Aquarius, I'm so fascinated by Aquarius because we're moving into the age of Aquarius. I've been doing so much research about who Aquarius is. And, you know, at one point, many eons ago, Aquarius was considered to be the sea goddess or the mother goddess of the ocean. And so she is the cosmic mother. To me, that's my feeling. And so when we're moving into this age of Aquarius now, it's like we're coming into the age of the cosmic mother. And we're learning about sacred union. we're learning about the union within ourselves, and we're learning about the collective consciousness and how we are all in this together. And if you look at the chart, you know, on the other side of Aquarius, we have Leo. And so this is coming into the age of Aquarius and Leo. And so these two are working together. So the cosmic mother, the age of Aquarius, you know, what she'll be bringing through is really going to be grounded in with the earthly masculine, you know, that fiery energy of the lion. And so these two working together, you know, the cosmic mother and the lion, you know, they are all about community, all about, we are all in this together. You know, what affects me affects you, and what I do now ripples back in time for my children and my children's children. And so a lot of these power battles that can be coming up now, it's a gift. You may not feel like it at the time, but we are showing each other all the parts of ourselves that we haven't healed. It's like, you know, when we're in this battle, and it's like, wow, thank you for showing me this in myself, and have gratitude. Me and my partner say every trigger is a gift, and we have to try and remind each other of that, you know, because those of us who are relating right now may be feeling the storms that we're in, and maybe like we're being challenged, you know, because when we are in deep love and union with ourselves and with another, that amount of love creates a really safe container for anything inside of us that doesn't feel safe, it doesn't feel healed, to come. You know, those wounded parts of ourselves, those shadow parts of ourselves that we left in the dark. When we create a safe container of loving union, it's like they get a chance to come back. They feel safe to come back. So it's like, and that can be quite scary and quite overwhelming, to really be seen in all of those parts of ourselves that were hidden or shamed or wronged or burned. You know, and I feel like this time is like we are reclaiming all of the parts of ourselves that were left behind. You know, if we've had lifetimes as witches and we were burnt for our gifts, you know, it's about going back down those thread lines, down those timelines, and picking up the things that we've left behind and saying, actually, I am clairvoyant, actually, I am clairsentient, or actually, I am a herbalist, and I can, you know, and just remembering those skills, or I have a really powerful voice, you know, really starting to embrace that. So all of those things that are left down the ancestral threads, you know, it's like going back and reclaiming them, and then using the gifts of the ancestors, gifts of the past, not the trauma. You know, because actually what I find is, what I have found, it's like it's in the trauma that lives the gift. You know, like, so I love singing, you know, but something has happened in my past lives that have made me have a fear of my voice, or a fear of singing. And it's around my throat chakra, you know, so I've been doing lots of work on healing that and allowing that which wants to come through to come through. And so whatever that trauma was, you know, I won't go into that, but it's about using that as our gold. It's like going into that place which is so uncomfortable and painful, and then realizing that underneath all of that is gold. It's that gold within the dark. And there's always the light at the end of the tunnel, right? So when we're going into the dark, we'll find the light at the end, and that is our gift that we lost. So this time is really about reclaiming those gifts, reclaiming our powers, our magical powers, and remembering who we really are, you know, like deep down in our soul, in our body, in our bones, and retelling the stories that we're remembering. You know, lots is coming back into our remembrance now, you know, stuff that was erased and deleted, and we're going like back and saying, oh hi, yeah, but also forward as well, you know, and into the present. And it's like this dance of like exploration, and just allowing ourselves to really explore all the timelines and all the different energies, and allowing all of it to be welcome, allowing everything to be welcome. So I was just looking as well because the Venus, beautiful Venus, is actually conjunct bright star in Gemini called Pollux, and Pollux is actually a lunar mansion. So something else I've been researching a lot about recently is the lunar mansions. And the lunar mansions is like an ancient Arabic and also Indian Hindu tradition. And so when the moon goes round, there's like certain points or stars that are lunar mansions, and they're like the brightest stars in certain constellations. And you know, each of those mansions has got symbolism and meaning. And so with Venus being right next to the fifth lunar mansion right now, Pollux, it's really favorable according to the Arabic tradition. It's a favorable position for lovers and friendships, but it also destroys majesties. That means like like a magistrate, like it's destroying like that kind of system. Yeah, magistrations, and controlling aspects in the lovers and the friendships. And so in the Hindu tradition, um, the star Pollux, the fifth lunar mansion, is connected to Jupiter and is about truth and generosity and wealth. And so, you know, with Venus here, right next, conjunct this beautiful bright star in Gemini, it's giving us a chance to really heal and really share like in our love, in our friendship, in our truth, in our just sharing in our wealth, and especially here in the Northern Hemisphere, because I lost my headphones. In the Northern Hemisphere, we are in the harvest moon, you know, and the harvest is all about sharing. It's about coming together in community. Aquarius is all about community. So it's about sharing in community, sharing our gifts, sharing our wealth. This full moon is also destroying anything that is not in alignment with that. You know, selfishness, ego tendencies, jealousy, I can't even, you know, but there's loads. Patriarchal control, domination. So this is like all, it's this full moon is about moving on from all of that control and finding freedom, you know, freedom. And we are all born free. You know, we came here to this earth to be free. And so, yeah, this is a time of reclaiming that freedom, reclaiming the freedom that was taken, coming back into sovereignty and love and truth. I'm just looking back at the chart to see if there's anything else I want to share. Yeah, Neptune being in Aquarius next to the moon feels really prominent for me. Feels really important because Neptune is connected to our dreams, the dream world, the cosmic world, the psychic world, the ocean, you know, the infinite ocean, the depth. So Neptune being in Aquarius, it's like the depths of the collective, depths of the community, depths of our freedom. And we can be feeling this feeling of really wanting freedom or wanting to break free from patriarchy, the systems, all that's been controlling us. And that can be dominating aspects from childhood, it could be past lives or whatever it is for us, you know. It's about really like moving on from that now and breaking free and coming into a new phase. But it's not always an easy transition, is it? You know, it's like having to break free from the chrysalis. It's a big journey, and it means that we have to break through all that we feel like we are. to move into a new time, into a new phase. So the rest of this year is really, it's going to be a lot of this, I feel. And we're still like bringing this awareness into the 22 energy of the sacred union and coming into union with ourselves and healing the parts of ourselves that aren't in union, healing the parts of ourselves that are broken and reclaiming them and loving them. Yeah. Wow, I'm going to stop sharing the screen now so I can look at you proper. Stop share screen. Okay. Right, so I have been talking for 25 minutes, so I'm going to stop now. But I hope that you all enjoyed that. Yay! I hope you resonate. And if you like what I'm sharing, if you want to know more about the lifetime sky and 13 star sign astrology, if you'd like your chart done, just get in touch. Yeah, I'm on Instagram and Facebook, Colors of the Moon. All right. Full moon blessings. I love you all. You're amazing. Keep going. The storm will pass. Maybe there'll be another one. But just try and just love and be present. Love and be present. And really feeling all that's coming up for us in these times. Blessed be